Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town, the only podcast around. Welcome back, everybody, for our second episode of 2024. We are back with a lot of news because we haven't covered news in 2 weeks.
That's right.
And we're not gonna cover all the news that happened because that'd be way
five
too.
of the news.
That would be like 3 episodes of news, and we're not doing that. So
maybe a little extra news. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe we'll see. We're also gonna be talking about Mean Girls and Echo, the new Marvel show.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you up front. Sam, did you watch any of Echo yet?
I think I watched the first. Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes. But the first episode is just a recap of everything that Echo has ever done up until the point, where she like shoots Kingpin and Hawkeye.
Yeah, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I watched the first half of the first episode.
Yeah, nothing happens in the first
episode.
episode.
I went to bed. And I haven't watched any of the rest of it.
It was kind of funny how in Marvel's first mature rated show, like immediately they were like, all right, how naked are we allowed to get on Disney Plus? Like that was the first thing they did.
Have you seen the marketing for Echo?
No, because it doesn't exist.
Well, it's all just advertising the fact that it's TVMA.
Yeah, which like
the TV spots for it were just the TVMA like picture, like screen bug. Really
Podcast
big.
Dog is also very sleepy.
Yeah, she's sleepy. We're recording
right here.
We literally just got back from seeing Mean Girls.
Yeah, we just got back from Mean Girls.
It's a little bit late. The dog is asleep, but yeah, that's literally all they're selling. I saw like a clip from like the red carpet with Kevin Feige, and that's what he was talking about. He was like, "Guys, this one's for the big boys."
Yeah, you know what this show reminds me of, and is like basically exactly the same as?
What's that?
The Netflix Marvel shows.
I can see that.
Like if this, like in terms of how much I care about the main character and just the overall vibe of the show, it is exactly the same as the Netflix.
Would you say
Marvel
it's
shows.
like upper tier seasons of Netflix Marvel shows, or like?
No, this is like Luke Cage
season 2.
No, this is like Luke Cage season 1, where it's like I don't care and I don't care at all about what's going on.
Yeah, at least it's not 13 episodes. Like they stretched all those shows out.
Yeah, like okay, it's fine. I'll probably finish it because like.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, well, we have to talk about it, but like, I will finish it. It doesn't seem bad so far. I struggle to care about what's happening because it's like, oh no, Kingpin's back again for like the 5th time.
He never really goes away.
He's doing the same things he always does, which is sit in chairs and tell goons to do crime. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Anyway, Sam, we should probably do a brief rundown of.
Yeah, let's give everyone a brief rundown. That was a mini Echo review for everyone.
A show I didn't watch.
But yeah, let's give you guys a brief rundown here. We got Golden Globe news, big Mandalorian news, Tom Cruise news, MGM/Amazon news, which I thought were already merged, but whatever. And then we got some Supergirl news. Apparently, Supergirl news is going on.
Sam,
so let's get to the first thing then. Tell me about what's happening in Supergirl world.
So, as we know, James Gunn, the new DCU, they're kicking into gear now that Aquaman's farted its way into cinemas to a not as bad as the other ones result.
I don't know. It was pretty bad.
No, not in terms of the movie, in terms of like how it's doing.
Oh.
Like it's gonna do more than The Flash, but also The Flash didn't do a lot.
That is so sad. That Aquaman is doing better than the Flash.
Well, it might end up doing exactly what I said it would do back when we talked about it in like June, where if it's probably gonna do half of what the first one did, because what Shazam 2 did was half of the first Shazam, but half of what the first Aquaman did is like
pretty good,
passable for this budget, so it might not lose as much money because it also had no marketing.
Yes,
costs.
well, I mean, it did. They just
but not as much as they did for like the
Yeah,
Flash
not nearly
even.
as much for the Flash or for the first Aquaman.
So I think it might end up like down the line via like Amazon Prime Video rentals, like eventually make money for them. But
yeah.
Anyway, so we already know the whole main cast of Superman Legacy. That movie is supposed to start shooting in the spring this year. Of course, coming out July of next year. They've already started the casting process for the role of Supergirl. Of course, she's getting a solo film as part of the new DCU. The Deadline, I think, or was the Hollywood Reporter? I think it was the Hollywood Reporter. Put out a article that they have a short list and they're going to start doing screen tests later this month. The three big headliners, the three names on the list, were Millie Alcock, who is the Targaryen girl from House of the Dragon.
Yes, and someone who I would never have visualized in my brain as Super.
Yeah, I didn't watch that show, only you.
She just, her vibes are not like Supergirl vibes. Like she's like very reserved. At least, I mean, that's her character in the show. But like, as far as I've seen from like her interviews and stuff like that, she doesn't seem very like I don't know. She just doesn't seem very Supergirly to me. That's just the vibe I get.
The other people were Amelia Jones, who was the main character in the movie Coda, which you might remember from either it was 2 years ago.
I don't remember that at all.
It was on Apple TV Plus. It won Best Picture at the Oscars.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
But she is really good in that movie. And then the last one was Meg Donnelly, who, Sam, are you familiar with the Disney Channel original movie Zombies 1, 2, and 3?
Well, yes, but I don't think she was in the second two.
Okay, well, she's in at least the first one, as far as I know.
She is in the second one because then it's revealed that she's like part.
Did you watch them?
No, I'm just familiar with them from like reviews, like from people like making fun of them. In the second one, it's revealed that like she's like part werewolf and like that's why her hair is white.
Well, that girl is also on the short list.
Interesting. I could picture her more as Supergirl than the other one.
I think everyone on Twitter, that's probably going to be their pick, but it's mostly because she's blonde.
Yeah, that's a very easy way to get like slotted into that role.
I would say Amelia Jones, though, I think fits the vibe of that character in the comic that this is based on.
Which comic is this?
This is based off Woman of Tomorrow, which is really recent. It came out like
a year or two ago. Most Supergirl iterations are like okay. Supergirl has had like a very like mixed history. Like her origin has changed like constantly. It's always being messed with. Her lore is not as solid because like every time they reboot, they decide
they do something different.
They do something different every time. So she's not as consistent as the other DC characters are. So,
but the version of her in that comic is a little more like jaded, and a little more like she's a very different character in that comic than Clark is, because her origin, she like experienced a lot of like the horrible nightmare of Krypton in a way that Clark didn't.
Yeah, because he was like a newborn baby.
Her character has a little more trauma and like reservedness, and she's also also more violent than he is. So I think if they were going to go in that direction with her, which I think is a good idea, because if you're going to do a Superman
that
movie,
would at least give her some differentiating factors. Because in my opinion, I think that's her most recent iterations have struggled a lot with being different than Superman. It's always just she's Superman, but blonde and a girl. Like it giving her more, although I guess now she's kind of encroaching on like Wonder Woman territory. But my point is that will help to differentiate her from Superman.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good idea, especially since if they're casting her now, I'm guessing gonna be the next one after Superman. It
would be this one, then Creature Commandos, and then
Creature Commandos is coming out this year. That's a cartoon show.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But in terms of movies, like, yeah, I think that would be a really good idea because also Woman of Tomorrow takes place like almost entirely in space. I think it might be entirely in space.
So she's like Captain Marvel.
It's space adventure Supergirl.
So Captain Marvel.
Yes, but no, because Captain Marvel is really like.
Well, Captain Marvel is a Supergirl knockoff, but now she's not.
But Captain Marvel also pretty much like only ever deals with like the Kree and the Skrulls, like that's
so like thing. Space things.
But Supergirl is doing like a lot of different stuff.
So she's doing different.
Yes,
things
Sam, they're both in space.
But they're
two characters could be in space.
two characters with the same powers who look basically the same, who are now
One
both
has a
also in
cape.
space.
One has a cape.
Sometimes.
One has a cape. But no, yeah. So that one's mostly in space. So I think those are like pretty good ideas to separate those two, because I feel like audiences will be like, why are we doing Supergirl? We just do Superman. Isn't that like the same thing basically? So I think that's a good idea. But yeah, I think Amelia Jones would be a good pick for probably the direction they're going. Interestingly enough, they haven't found a director for this movie. They have a finished script. They have a draft of the screenplay already done. But apparently the reason they're going ahead and casting without a director for the movie is that she's probably going to appear in something else.
She'll probably cameo
this,
in
which
Superman.
I guess would be Legacy, because that's the only thing they're working on.
Well, and that's a Superman movie, so that would make sense for her to cameo in that.
Because I think 4 of the movies have people attached, and I think one of the TV shows does. I know Creature Commandos is like, they're already animating that. That's going to come out this year. Waller has writers.
They're making an Amanda Waller movie?
No, it's a show. But I think that might also be shooting this year. And then Superman's going to shoot like real soon. Batman has a director but no writer. Swamp Thing is James Mangold, but who knows when he's ever going to do that.
Why did they pick Swamp Thing to be one of the first things they do? That will never make sense.
And then Supergirl has a writer but no director. So I don't know exactly how that's going to end up shuffling out.
You know what?
I do not think it would be smart to do Superman and then Supergirl. I think that's
because you kind of cannibalize yourself there.
Also, the other problem is you can't do Superman and then the new Batman, because Superman comes out in July of 2025, and then the next Robert Pattinson Batman comes out in October. So you can't do. Then you would be doing Superman, Batman.
Come on, DC. I thought we learned.
I know. So they're gonna have to figure out a way. They should probably slot one of the other characters in after the Batman.
You just gotta get Matt Reeves. You gotta lock him in a closet. You go, look. Here's the deal. Here's the situation. Batman's gonna be friends with Superman. All right, suck it up. Get used to it. Figure it out. You are not Batman. Batman is Batman.
No, I do think that's stupid. I think it's stupid that the only DC movie coming out this year is Joker 2. And that's going to be in its own universe. And so, Sam, 4 straight DC movies will come out over the course of 3 years, and all of them will be in their own continuity.
It's almost like maybe you hired a guy specifically to make sure that this didn't happen again.
To be fair, 3 of them were in the works before he got.
Maybe you should just stop making them then. Maybe don't do that.
Because Aquaman just came out. The next one will be Joker. And then after Joker will be Superman. And after Superman will be Batman 2.
That's
all 4 of those.
That is so... I'm getting so tired of having to explain to people which movies take place in what universe. I'm sick of it. It was fun for a little bit. Now I'm tired of it.
The thing is, though, is then after you explain that, they don't see it anyway. So it was.
The problem is
they go, do it have Batman in it?
No, the problem is they do go see it, and then they see the next one, and they're like, where was this guy? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, actually, that Joker's not the Joker from the Batman. This Joker's from his own universe where there is no Batman, but there might be a Batman later. It's unclear. And that Batman's also not the Batman that's in the Robert Pattinson Batman. He's a different Batman. No, this Batman's a different new Batman.
And I know...
This Batman's friends with Superman. The other one doesn't like Superman. Neither of them fight the Joker. What? Why do I have to explain all this?
I think they need to just put the Batman in the New York. Like that it should just be Robert Pattinson.
Already likes him.
I know they want to do their own version that's Damian Wayne and based on the Grant Morrison comics, but
you can still do that.
Just have that be the third.
You can still do that. Just have Batman also show up in some other things. Like there's nothing stopping you.
No, I'm saying like they want to do their own Batman solo movie that's different than what Matt Reeves wants to do with his Batman solo movie.
No. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm vetoing that.
And I know they've already signed Andy Muschietti to do the new Batman, but also he did like a not great job with the Flash, so I don't think
just have Batman do two different movies. Batman's been in 2 movies before. Have 2 Batman movies. But you can have the same Batman be in both movies. It's not. It's very
especially
easy
since
to do.
like if you lock that in as the Batman, like boom, you're already off because like that movie was a hit. So you're already on a good track if you just say that was the first.
And
one.
people like that is the
People
only
like that
DC
one.
movie that they have made in the last like
5 years,
4 or 5
maybe?
years that people actually liked.
Yeah.
Not only did they like it, they were like, this might be one of the best DC movies.
Yeah.
And it might be. It's really good.
And the good thing is people still talk about that movie. All of the ones that came out last year, all 4 of them, no, everyone's already forgotten.
People have already stopped mentioning The Flash. That came out this year.
So you're good. You got a direct line. Just why are you doing this other thing? You don't need 2 Batmans at the same time. That's confusing to people.
I don't like it.
Anyway,
Stop it.
That's what's going on in DC.
Let's talk about some. One more thing I was gonna say. They're gonna pick the girl from House of the Dragon because she works for Warner Brothers already,
That's might be true.
and she's on a show that is massively popular.
It
for
could
Warner
be someone
Brothers.
else too. They said there are more people in the mix. These are just the names they like could get their.
Yeah, they're gonna pick the one who's in their biggest, most popularist show. Why would they not pick her?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't pick any like super known actors or like people from big hits for.
Yeah, but I think they were. Number one, they don't really have a big like they don't really have any other big shows right now that feature male leads other than Last of Us. And I don't think Pedro Pascal's gonna be Superman because that'd be kind of weird. He's just not Superman looking. So yeah, that makes more sense to me. But like this character, you definitely could put her in that role. And that's like a viable option.
5'5" too short to be.
Too short to be Supergirl? How tall is Supergirl supposed to be?
I would say like 5.
I don't think it matters how tall Supergirl is.
I think it matters more than you
think. I think it matters how tall Wonder Woman is. I don't think it matters how tall Superman is or how tall Supergirl is.
Yeah, I guess.
She's called Supergirl.
You can't make
she's
her.
She's
like if she stands next to Superman, she can't be like cartoonishly shorter.
Why not?
I'll
Just put her closer to the camera, and so they look roughly the same size. I mean, cousins look different all the time.
Ray Alcock does not look.
You can
6'4".
Yeah, you're not
he's
gonna.
a full foot taller than.
Yeah,
her.
it doesn't matter who you cast; they're gonna be shorter. Like it doesn't matter.
Dang, he's a tall dude. I didn't even realize that.
Plus, the girl who plays Rhaenyra is like not that short, so I'm pretty sure you could make it work.
I don't know. We'll find out. Moving on.
Let's talk about Amazon and MGM,
Amazon.
who I thought didn't they already buy MGM?
Yes, but not all the way. They did
What?
buy MGM. But Amazon announced on Wednesday morning that the company will begin mass layoffs of several hundred employees across Amazon Studios and Prime Video.
So they're not merging; they're firing a bunch of
Yes.
people.
Several insiders at the company are describing the situation as a bloodbath, with several senior executives already let go.
Oh, so they're just getting rid of MGM.
Sam, as we know, Amazon is one of the most poor companies.
They're always struggling for
They're
cash.
struggling for cash. There was not an article that came out literally this week about how the new ads that they're going to force upon all their Prime Video subscribers are going to generate $6 million new dollars.
No, it's because they're really struggling out there. They're really.
Jeff Bezos needs help.
Well, he's not in charge anymore, technically.
Did you see that article that Tim Cook his salary was gonna drop all the way to $6?
Gonna drop to 65 million? What is it right now?
More than that.
Oh no! Now he'll only be able to afford one yacht this year. Oh, poor Tim. Oh no.
Or Tim Apple.
Yeah, I'm not sad about that. But at least he's like, okay, I think you shouldn't be allowed to like fire a bunch of people unless like you also like the higher ups also have to take like a pay cut. Like some percentage of the suffering has to be shared.
I'm talking about Tim Cook.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Tim
The
Cook.
CEOs at Amazon are not taking a pay cut.
Yes, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I think if you're going to fire a bunch of people, you should have to decrease your salary proportionally to the like percent of employees you fire. So if you lay off 10% of your staff, you take a 10%
now,
pay
whenever companies do merge or acquire other companies, there is always layoffs because you have duplicate positions and you can't have two people doing the same job.
Why? Well, they were already both doing the same job
but
before.
for different companies. So you have like
So just make the same amount of stuff you were making before.
because you don't.
Then you can have both of those two people doing different things at the same time.
They're doing the same thing. Their job was to do the same thing before, but now there's already a guy at the old company who's doing this.
Yes,
thing.
but he's going to have to be doing both of their work. The work doesn't go away. He's just now doing all the work for two companies. Just keep the other guy, and then the work flows less.
We can't have two people doing the same job. This is how we save money.
This is stupid.
But anyway.
If two Walmarts were to merge and you fired half of the Walmart, one of the store's employees, that would be an insane workload for the remaining Walmart employees.
You don't need double the manager.
Yes, but they're not going to fire the managers.
Well,
they're going to keep all the managers.
Executives. That's who they are firing.
Yeah, but they could retire anyway.
Most of the layoffs have come as a result of internal mergers, which is what I'm saying, within divisions within the company. Bringing development teams together under remaining senior leadership will help MGM Plus, which is their streaming service.
I didn't even know that they had that.
And Amazon Studios produce more, end quote, more premium series in the vein of Netflix's Wednesday, Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale, and FX's Fargo.
So they just mentioned
for
some
third-party
broadcasters,
as well as series for MGM Plus.
So okay,
key component of the mergers is combining of Amazon Studios and MGM's theatrical marketing and distribution. That's the main reason they're doing this, is that MGM and Amazon already had two theatrical distribution people.
Yeah.
And because they're the same, they're just going to merge them. So there's just one big...
So, okay, now I'm starting to get it. So, okay, so they want to make more higher quality content.
Yep.
So we're going to get rid of people, and so then we'll be able to make more content.
We're gonna
because with less people, you can do more things.
We're going to streamline. We're going to streamline. So now
Terry is going to be doing Jerry, Mary, and Terry's jobs.
the MGM Plus people, right, for the service that has maybe 7 or 8
just get rid of MGM Plus.
No,
why does that even exist?
We need
What's
MGM
on there?
Plus.
What is on MGM Plus?
No one has ever known.
I didn't even know that existed.
I don't think the people working
is
for
it
MGM
just James
Plus,
Bond?
Let's find out.
Is it just the James Bond library? It's got to just be James Bond because they don't own anything else. What? In like probably a single Lord of the Rings movie.
What is on MGM Plus?
Was this covered in Donkey's video? Did Donkey miss a streaming service?
Probably. By the way, like everything he said in that video.
Yeah, I figured.
Wow, we got groundbreaking originals here, Sam. We got The Winter King.
Oh, that. Okay.
We got a Billy the Kid show.
Something
called Beacon 23.
Oh.
Screams 1, 2, and 3 are on here.
Oh, yep, those are movies.
Creed 3.
Okay. Yep. Well,
Bottoms?
No one's gonna be watching Creed 3 anymore.
Bottoms.
It's Bottoms.
Remember that lesbian teen comedy that came out?
No.
Last year.
When?
I think September.
No, I don't remember Bottoms.
Well, it's on here. Pet Cemetery Bloodlines.
There's a spin-off of Pet Cemetery.
It's a prequel, I think.
So nothing. So nothing is on.
Forrest Whitaker's got a TV show on here.
Who's Forrest Whitaker?
Who's apparently been running for 4 years.
Who is that?
How long has this been around? Belgravia?
Who's that? These
are shows. You're right. They do have all of the James Bond on here.
I was right. I knew it. That's the only thing they own.
From?
Are you telling me something is from something, or is that the name of a show?
This is another TV show. By the way, you know how if you watch, never mind, I won't get into that. They have a section on here called Franchise Fun.
What does that mean?
They have Halloween's 7, 6, and 8.
Wow, what a riveting catalog. Hello, Soon is awake.
Hellraiser 3. Have at least 9 Hellraiser movies. And American Ninja.
There are 9 Hellraiser movies?
And American Ninja 2, The Confrontation.
Is that an American Ninja Warrior spinoff?
They have 4 movies in the American Ninja franchise.
Are those related to American Ninja Warrior?
Not at all.
Good. Okay, I think we're done with this bit.
I think we found out what MGM Plus is about. No.
What do you think their average, what do you think their subscriber numbers are looking like?
Maybe
I'd say in
5.
the high single digits.
Yeah.
I'm thinking around 7.
Well, how many employees will there be at MGM Plus after this firing. That's how many subscribers
they'll have a single employee per subscriber, and the subscription money goes directly to that single employee.
He's making like $8 a month or whatever.
Yeah, he makes $11 a month or whatever the cost of the service is.
MGM and Amazon produce a lot of shows. I think more than people realize. Like they do reference like Netflix, like Wednesdays, a show.
So why haven't they just put all of these shows on Amazon?
Because half of the revenue stream is selling shows to other networks, right? Selling stuff to Hulu, selling Fargo to FX.
Yes, but all of those shows are on MGM, so obviously they didn't sell those to anyone.
And then the other half is making stuff for Prime Video, right? Which is the flagship streaming service.
Yes.
As no one really knows, but somewhere around 200 million subscribers in
the
the US.
one with subscribers on it.
Billions of dollars, right? Maybe actually a successful, profitable streaming service.
Well, okay, hang on.
Does not exist.
Let's be clear. Not a single human being is subscribed to Amazon Prime Video. However, there are people subscribed to Amazon Prime
and they get Prime
who
Video.
Occasionally watch Prime Video by accident.
The Boys and Reacher network, as it is now known.
And Invincible every 4 years.
But so that's right. That's where they're dividing their content. Is half of it's for Prime Video and half of it we sell to other people for cash.
And then what? And
then the other third is whatever's going on MGM
the phantom content
is whatever that is draining cash for some reason. Why do they even feel the need to do this? They already have a streaming service.
I don't know.
Don't need to.
Okay, before Amazon bought MGM, sure. MGM service, whatever.
MGM Plus came out after they bought MGM.
Yeah, see, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
I got
And okay, if that was their goal, okay, Amazon making a new streaming service that is separate from Amazon Prime is not a terrible idea because, like I just said, no one is subscribed to Prime Video. They're subscribed to Prime. They watch Prime Video. If they made a new service and put all of their shows on that and stopped supporting Prime Video, since it literally just loses money, absolutely no one is subscribing for the streaming content. That would make sense, but then why don't they promote this other service at all? I've never once seen an ad or heard of someone watching something on MGM Plus.
It's going to be a really profitable thing in 10 and a half years.
No, it won't be.
Our forecast, the chart, Sam.
Well, the chart says...
I think eventually we're going to get to Netflix numbers. I think people really love MGM brands. I think it's going to be a big hit.
Name a single human being that even knows, other than us two just now who just learned about this. Name one other human being who even knows there is an MGM streaming service.
Probably the guy who made, like, the logo.
The, like, developer for the website.
Yeah, maybe him.
He probably forgot.
Yeah. I did that?
All right.
I was working on Hulu.
I don't think is there any other interesting components to the story? Alrighty, let's move on.
I just thought it was funny that MGM Plus exists.
Well, yep. Now all 80 of you know that it exists. Also,
Tell your friends.
The number has increased by 8,000%.
Wow!
Because 80 people just learned about it.
We got a big impact here.
That means we're 8,000%.
What were they gonna do with their day without the knowledge of MGM?
Well, they're probably gonna forget that exists immediately after this bit ends. So, all right, let's talk about Tom Cruise doing a Christopher Nolan.
That's right.
And chaining himself to Warner Brothers for no reason.
Tom Cruise, the actor and producer, has agreed to a deal.
And Scientologist. Don't forget, that's an important part.
He is the Scientologist, the spokesman of the church.
He's their second highest ranking member, only behind their supreme prophet.
I've stood outside their New York City building. I didn't go inside.
Did they hand you a thing that wanted you to test your midichlorians?
At the front, like in the front doors, handing out pamphlets, but I didn't go.
Yeah, you know what those pamphlets...
It's right across the street from the Richard Rodgers Theater, which is where Hamilton is.
That's awesome.
So while I was in line to see the play Hamilton, they got that big old Scientology.
You know what those pamphlets like say, right?
Isn't it like vague?
It's like are you depressed? Yeah. Have us check your midichlorian levels and see if you have too many, and then we'll purify you.
No, the whole point is like it starts off as just like a community, like
it starts off as a fake church and then becomes a scam.
It's a fake church about nothing. It's like a group therapy thing where it's like about embracing like your inner energy and like growing in charity.
And
or
then they
whatever.
bring in the aliens.
And then slowly they roll in the aliens.
It's like a Studio Trigger anime. Like, it starts like a normal anime and like everything's normal. And then in the last 4 episodes, it turns out there's aliens for some reason.
It starts out as like vague humanism, and then it just kind of eventually turns into
you know what? I'm going to look into that.
Reincarnated
I wonder
Martian.
if one of the studio heads for Studio Trigger is a Scientologist, and that's what all their shows are.
They're all over Hollywood.
That would make sense.
So David Zaslav actually did a smart thing and made this deal happen. So good for him. One smart point.
Okay, I don't understand why Tom Cruise agreed to this.
So
it's not like he couldn't have just been in movies for Warner Brothers. Why is he like
join
exclusive
forces with WB Pictures heads Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi? Gonna be working right alongside them. His production company will set up offices on the Warner Brothers lot in what is being described as beyond a typical first look deal. He will be developing new original and franchise installments of movies he will both produce and star in. This is not an exclusive deal, so he's not stuck with WB. He can work with other people, which he already is. He's currently shooting Mission Impossible 8 for Paramount. He's also doing that space movie at Universal where he's going to go into space actually for real.
I thought they already did that.
No, he hasn't. He's going to do that after Mission Impossible.
He wants to make all of his movies just in case he dies in outer space first.
I would do that if I were him.
You want to get all your franchises finished, and then if you die in outer space, you.
I feel bad for like the cameraman who's gonna have to like follow him up.
Who's gonna also have to wait? I thought he said he was doing all his own camera work too.
Tom Cruise is.
Yeah, like
with a GoPro.
No, like I'm pretty sure that like the actors are like going to be filming themselves basically.
Well, they'll probably have like cameras in like their spacesuit, right?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that will be like part of it, but I think they're.
Well, I guess they could just have. But then, like, what's the point?
The cameras will just stay where you put them in outer space. So you just go like this. You go like that. You leave the camera there.
Yeah, you just set it and then you move.
Yeah, it's not gonna go anywhere.
That's true. That's actually I didn't think about it.
You don't really need a cameraman. Dude, cameraman's. If gravity went away, cameramen would all lose their jobs.
I think
immediately cameramen are useless.
I think there would be a lot more important professions that would no longer have a job.
Like what? Name one other profession that would lose their job if gravity disappeared. Like other than the fact that like that would destroy the world.
Everyone would die. So
okay, assuming everyone survives and the world is not like ripped to shreds, which it would be, but assuming that doesn't happen, like literally, cameraman's only job is to like fight gravity. That's it.
Cameraman's only job is to fight gravity.
Yeah, because without gravity, you just put the camera where you want to put it.
So without gravity, you can't do any jobs.
Yeah, you can.
What's the job you can do without gravity?
Be a cook.
The food floats away.
Not if it's in a microwave.
But the microwave floats away.
Do you think that they don't have like food in space? What do you think they do with their food in space? You know they cook their food in space.
So you're saying as long as you keep the food in the microwave, but also if you're using a microwave, the cook's not really doing anything.
Yeah, but my point is you can cook.
That's
like that job can be done.
What, are you gonna go to a restaurant where you're sitting on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Eat your microwavable mac and cheese or whatever?
I mean, I'm sure you could just use a regular stove and just hold the pan down.
How are you going to farm? Where are you going to get the food from?
What do you mean, how are you going to farm?
All the animals are going to float away.
The plants aren't going to float away. They're stuck in the ground.
You're going to have to go vegan.
Put a roof on the field.
On the whole field?
Do you know what a barn is? A barn is a roof.
How are you going to build the roof?
You know, people build barns. Like, barns exist. Just build a bigger barn.
Like, wow, there's no gravity? How are you going to build things with no gravity?
The same, you just built, what do you mean? No, it won't, because you cement it to the ground.
You can bolt the ends to the ground. You can't bolt the ceiling to the ground.
You think if gravity went away right now, the roof of this house would, like, float away and the rest of the house wouldn't?
But it would if it was mid-construction.
No, because you just nail it down while you're building it the same way you already do.
Construction worker.
No, not if you tie them to the roof.
They're going to tie themselves to the roof and build a house at the same time.
Yeah, well, they'll start off with like
How are they going to work on the ground?
Well, you tie themselves to the ground. Yes.
Everyone's just going to be tied to everything everywhere?
Yeah. I mean, unless they don't.
How are you going to drive? How are you going to drive anywhere?
You don't need to drive.
Car floats away.
You just jump in the direction you want to go.
Jump everywhere?
Yeah.
You jump, you go, and then you just never stop going.
No, you have a really long rope, so you
got
take
rope.
the.
But then you're tied
you take
over
the
here.
circumference of the place you want to go to.
You can only go within this. can only go within the circumference of the place.
Well, you got to
live.
make sure you have the right length of rope and you jump at the right angle. Otherwise, you might end up in like the wrong building.
Wait, so everything's vertical?
No. Okay, like do you know how like a
So
like a
the
semicircle?
furthest you could go is like the radius of like
The rope you
circle,
have.
the semicircle made by the cable attached to where you live.
Yes, I mean you could get a longer cable if you wanted to go farther.
But where are you gonna get a longer cable? You can't leave your home.
You think there wouldn't be a cable store if this hypothetical
How are you
world
gonna
existed?
get to the cable store?
You'll jump. You'll have a cable that's the right length to go to the cable store.
Everyone's cable will be just long enough to get to the cable
Well,
store.
whenever I assume this world starts.
Okay, this is a terrible riff.
Okay, that's like saying how do you get to the car dealership to buy a car? Like someone else you know has a car and they take you there. It'd be like that. Someone else you know has a cable and you take their cable.
You take their cable. Their cable's attached to where they are.
No, they'll be inside while you borrow their
What do you
cable.
mean they'll be inside?
If you're inside, you're not going to float away.
How are you gonna get to their house? You can only go to the people within one cable of your house.
Yeah, so you'll hop cables till you get to their house.
That's it's like. But how do you detach it? If you're like, so if like your cable,
You go to your
No,
neighbor's
no.
cable.
Hold on. If your cable's tied off here, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're like jumping over to where your neighbor lives, and then you're like detaching it from yourself, attaching it to their cable, and like hopping over.
Yes.
This seems convoluted.
My point is, cameramen would lose their jobs.
That's true. You're not wrong.
Anyways,
would
is
also
that it
lose
for
a lot
Tom
of
Cruise?
cameras.
Is there anything else to talk about Tom Cruise related?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say he's gonna do a lot more franchise stuff. Stuff he has done at Warner Brothers in the past is Edge of Tomorrow, which is 100% gonna get a sequel. Been talking about that for years. Live Die Repeat.
I guess.
Yeah,
Would
that
just
movie
be the
didn't do
same movie though.
super well. But I do think like
One of the better manga adaptations.
Tom Cruise's star is up. Might as well do a sequel.
You think Tom Cruise knows that it's based on a manga?
Yeah,
I think he's read the manga.
maybe
Manga's not that long.
he probably did.
I mean, he might have.
Why wouldn't he?
Well, I don't know. I'm just
It's a sci-fi thing.
yeah, but
technically,
like
right?
the movie
It's
like
part of his
has
religion. He had to
almost nothing to do with like the
It's
manga.
science fiction. And
Other than like the very base premise.
science fiction.
sort of, and even that was
Scientology,
changed.
all science fiction.
Yeah, well, in the manga, the monsters were big, googly mouth things with tentacle legs, and in the movie, they were just like blobs.
What do you call a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow? Edge of Yesterday?
Edge of the day after tomorrow.
Creative. Edge of Last Week?
The second, the other edge of tomorrow.
I think it's going to be called Edge of.
I think that makes less sense than Edge of Tomorrow.
If they just stuck with the Live Die Repeat title, they could have just called it Live Die Repeat.
No, but I don't think there's a good way to make a sequel.
They'll
title
probably
to this
just call it
movie.
Edge of Tomorrow 2, Part
Yeah.
2, something like
They
that.
should. That's what they should do.
Anyway, he also did Risky Business. Could do a Risky Business sequel now that he's
You could.
75 years old.
You could. There's a lot of things you could do.
Interview with a Vampire.
Let's not do
one
that.
of those. Rock of Ages. These are some options.
These are things you technically could
No,
make
he's gonna
others
do an Edge of
of.
Tomorrow sequel and probably like one other original movie, and then that's it. He doesn't. He's a very busy man, and he's very old, so he doesn't have a lot of movies left in him, especially
think
since
he
he takes
does.
forever to make them.
Harrison Ford is still making movies.
Also, Paramount's gonna call him up and say, "Hey, you gotta make Top Gun 3 at some point." So
Yeah, they're gonna make a million Top Guns now.
yeah.
All right, is that it for
Yes.
Tom?
You want to get
Guy?
into Star Wars news?
Let's talk about us some Star Wars news.
So Sam, it is Thursday, which means a new Star Wars movie has been announced by
That's
Lucasfilm.
basically how this works now.
The Mandalorian in Grogu will be heading to theaters in a new movie to be written and directed by the TV show creator Jon Favreau.
So is the movie titled The Mandalorian
The
and
movie
Grogu?
is called The Mandalorian in Grogu.
Or are they just saying those two characters will be
No,
on the
that's
big
the
screen?
name of the movie.
That's not a great name.
I know, it's a terrible name.
I just called it The Mandalorian.
Okay. No, I was going to wait to get into this, but might as well do it now. I understand why they're doing this.
Because
Because
the show's
The
popular.
Mandalorian show is popular. People in general like it, or they did like it. This is a safe thing to get people back to see Star Wars. You can't call it Star Wars The Mandalorian because that's the name of the show and people will get confused.
No, that's actually what exactly you should
You
call
can't
it.
call it, and I understand calling it The Mandalorian and Grogu because you want to feature Grogu because he's the most popular part of the show. But also, people don't know his name is Grogu. His name is Baby Yoda. And no matter what they do,
You can't call a
your
movie.
average person, I know, they can't call the movie The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Okay, that's just not going to happen. I think they probably should have called it like Star Wars The Rise of the Mandalorian. Something like that.
Like the Mandalorian
It
rises.
sounds generic, but it's like, okay, this is not just like an episode of the show. The Mandalorian and Grogu just like sounds like the 4th season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni are going to produce it. Production is on track to begin late this year.
It just shouldn't have the Mandalorian in the name at all, I think.
But it's the Mandalorian movie, so like
No, but it should be named after whatever the event that happens in the movie is, not the Mandalorian himself.
Star Wars, but also we have to put the Mandalorian in there because then
Star Wars
people know
Episode
what it
4
is.
wasn't called Star Wars Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay, but it also wasn't based on a TV show that was called Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But that's not what
If
the
you
show's
call it,
even called.
Okay, but if you call it Star Wars The Great Schism or whatever, right? Then people don't know it's The Mandalorian. They just think it's a different Star Wars movie.
They're going to think that
You can put him on the poster.
People who don't know that it's about The Mandalorian because the title wouldn't be The Mandalorian wouldn't have known that The Mandalorian is The Mandalorian anyway. Like, if you're paying attention enough to Star Wars to know who The Mandalorian is, then you would know he's going to be in the movie.
But The Mandalorian is not just the name of the character, it's the name of the show. And to let people know this is a spin-off of the show, you have to put that in the title.
So then it should be The Mandalorian.
You have to call the X-Files movie X-Files, because otherwise people don't understand what it is.
Then it should be The Mandalorian : the
That's
whatever
what I'm
thing.
saying. They should have called it The Rise of the Mandalorian or something like that.
Yeah. Not this.
This was
This
a dumb
is bad.
title. I understand why they did it, because now they can have Grogu real big on the poster, but you could have done that anyway.
Yeah, you could already do that. Make him big on the poster.
But this will be the first Star Wars movie to enter production since The Rise of Skywalker, all the way back in 2018, I believe, is when that started shooting.
Yeah.
Been a long time. Will this actually get made?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it will.
Because they have already casted everybody, and they're probably just going to use all their pre-rendered volume sets they already have.
And they already have the script
and
for
all the crew from season
They'll
4.
just composite it into
now,
a movie.
There was a season 4 announced. My guess is it's not going to happen.
No, they've said that they're still making it.
So this is...
They're done to both.
So they're going to do this and then the season 4, or they're going to do season 4 and then this?
Probably season 4.
Is this just shooting this year? So are they going to shoot it back to back? Shoot the movie and the show?
Yeah, this will probably just be the finale for the show.
That doesn't... They should just do the movie.
Why?
Because the show is going to feel... Season 4 is just going to feel like antiquated.
Why
are we doing this? The movie comes out in 3
was already
months.
antiquated.
But like it was... We didn't know a movie was coming. I'm saying like the show is one thing. If you say, hey... The Mandalorian season finale theatrical movie comes out in 6 months, and also here's the 4th season of the show. It dilutes the movie because the show just came out.
Well, you just...
I don't think they're going to do a season 4.
Okay,
I didn't see anything that said they were going to keep doing it.
They haven't...
They didn't say they were going to not do it, but I didn't say anything like, oh, and season 4 will be in production at the same time.
And they can do both.
I
see no reason why they can't do both.
I understand that they could do both. I think it'd be very... I don't think they will. I feel like what happened was he wrote out season 4, looked at it, and said... Because I also think this is Jon Favreau's I'm done. I think he's going to do this and then move on. I think he probably wrote season 4, looked at it, said, let me just take out the 6 episodes of filler I wrote and then just expand like the 2 plot episodes into a movie. And they'll probably just let me make that. And they probably said yes. Because also, the other benefit of this is this should be able to be produced at a lower budget. Because if they're using all the TV actors and sets and stuff, I mean, the season of The Mandalorian costs like $150 million. You should probably be able to make this movie for about that same amount. So I do think that's probably the other reason they're doing this, is because this will be cheaper than the other stuff they already have in works. Now... this will be the first, again, this will be the next Star Wars movie to enter production, but before any of the other movies they already announced. They didn't announce a release date for it, But Disney has reserved 3 unspecified dates for Star Wars movies. One is May 22nd, 2026. One is December 18th, 2026. One is December 17th, 2027. There was supposed to be a Star Wars movie last year. Cut that. They can't
What
make.
Star Wars movie was supposed to come out last year?
Remember Rogue Squadron all the way
Oh,
back when
yeah,
they were
that's
supposed
right.
to do Rogue Squadron? That didn't happen. Because remember, the original plan was Star Wars movie, Avatar movie, Star Wars movie, Avatar movie, and they were going to alternate that every Christmas for like 8 years.
Yeah, and then they didn't do any of that.
But Avatar, they just keep pushing those things back forever. Avatar 3 was supposed to come out this year. It's pushed back to next year, which caused the Star Wars movie on that day to be pushed back to May of the following year. Are you keeping track of all this?
Yes.
So, my guess is they're going to shoot this late this year, early next year. It'll come out in May of 2026. And then the Charmin Obaid Chinoy Ray-focused episode 10 movie, which is also like moving further into production, will probably be soon. That will come out in the following Christmas. And initially I was kind of like iffy on that because I thought Star Wars movies should be like the December release. Those should be the big December releases.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
You get a bunch of toy sales for Christmas.
this is kind of a TV movie in a way.
The Ray movie?
No, the Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
One. Like the other ones, like because the other movies they have in the works, right, are the Rey movie, Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire thing, which is going to be the big Thrawn conclusion. All of the story arcs are going to come together for that.
Yeah.
And then James Mangold's first Jedi movie that's never going to get made. Like all of those are on like a massive scale that this probably won't. This is going to be a condensed season of The Mandalorian on a theatrical movie.
Yeah, so production for season 4 was supposed to start in October, but it got delayed due to the strikes.
This past October?
What do you mean? Yes.
Huh.
And then they pushed it back to early 2024 for production for season 4.
Okay.
So they're set to like start production pretty soon.
My guess is they're gonna just
pivot and do the movie instead.
Yeah,
that seems like a lot of pivoting. Like
I don't think it will because I think whatever they were gonna do in season 4 is just
season 4 is already written.
Again, I'm saying I think he probably just condensed season 4 into a 2 hour. Because let's be honest, was The Mandalorian season 4 gonna have more than 2 hours of actual storyline development?
No idea.
Probably not, because none of the other seasons did. So my guess is he probably just, again, because I think he wants to be done with this. I think Jon Favreau always wanted to do a Star Wars movie. I think that was his end goal at the beginning. I don't think he's interested in any of the Thrawn stuff. That was all Dave Filoni's.
Yeah, that's
idea.
all his.
That's all his world. I think he wants to move on. I mean, he's been making these billion-dollar Disney IPs since Iron Man 2, Iron Man 1. So I think he probably wants to go out and do something else. And so, I mean, he's also supposed to make other movies for Disney proper, I think. Live cartoon.
Sure, maybe.
So I think this is probably his it. He is supposed to produce the Heir to the Empire one, which he probably will, but he's probably not going to be very active on it. But yeah, I do think this is his going. I don't expect him to come back to shoot this entire movie and then immediately come back and be like, all right, let's do more of The Mandalorian. Because also, after you do the movie, where do you go with The Mandalorian?
No, that would be the finale.
In a way that doesn't feel like he's just like
going to meander around.
Yeah, because what else is he going to do?
No, the movie is the finale.
Yeah, so I think that this will be it for Jon Favreau's like actual involvement in.
But that's what makes me think they're going to do season 4 and then use the movie as a finale for the whole show. Okay.
I do want to get into that because I've written everything out. This is everything Star Wars is working on.
Yes.
And when it's supposed to come out. So it's 2024, this year. We have Bad Batch Season 3, which is the final season.
I forgot that existed.
Tales of the Jedi Season 2 is supposed to come out this year. Skeleton Crew, the TV show that's going to tie into the Dave Filoni Mandoverse stuff.
Sure, maybe.
Which is Star Wars Stranger Things. And then The Acolyte, which is the High Republic TV show.
That is supposed to come out
That's also supposed to come out this year. That they showed that and Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
and
that
Bad
has
Batch.
a trailer.
They all showed footage for at Celebration or
something,
D23
20 whatever.
or Comic-Con
one of their
somewhere.
things.
Those have edited trailers with like footage in it.
Yeah, which I don't know why they haven't just released those.
My guess is that probably Skeleton Crew is going to come out first. That was supposed to come out last year. And then probably Tales of the Jedi they'll just throw out at a random point. And then Acolyte. And then Bad Batch for some reason takes them forever. My guess is that'll come out like that'll probably get delayed till next year.
Yeah.
Just based on their track record. And then 2025, the only thing currently dated for 2025 is Andor Season 2. Which was supposed to come out this year, got delayed. See what happens with that. And then 2026 has the 2 untitled Star Wars movies. And then in 2027, you have the other untitled Star Wars movie. And then they have a bunch of stuff that's just in the works and has no dates. So Ahsoka Season 2, they announced just started development.
Like earlier this week, I think they announced that Season 2 was confirmed.
Which makes sense because the writer's strike was going until fairly recently. So he probably couldn't work on it. Yeah. But that is like earliest stages. He's probably just got some ideas written down in a notebook somewhere.
They did share some concept art though.
Yeah, they show a
of the big finger going like this.
Yeah. And then the Mandalorian Grogu is going to shoot this year. That has no date. There's the Sharmino Obaid-Chinoy movie, which is also supposed to shoot relatively soon. That they're fast tracking. Then the Dave Filoni movie, which everyone is saying is like way off. He's gonna fully invest and take all this time on Ahsoka Season 2.
I don't understand how it could be way off.
Ahsoka Season 2 is gonna be several years away. And then after that, he will then do Heir to the Empire.
I don't want to wait that long for Ahsoka.
And then you have the James Mangold movie, which is probably going to get canceled because Indiana Jones didn't do well, and they're probably
that movie was never going to come out. As soon as I saw the description for that, I knew that was never going to happen.
And then the Mandalorian Season 4, which I put is probably canceled, which was never like.
There's no way that I don't see them canceling their biggest show. Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. That is Disney Plus's that would be like Netflix canceling season 5 of Stranger Things to make a movie. I don't see that happening.
I would see that happening though.
Why would they do that?
Because when is it going to come out? I mean, I guess it could come out next year, but also like when are you going to shoot that? You would have to shoot that and then right after that do the movie or do the both.
Yeah, just make the movie just like the last 3 episodes smushed together.
Then it would look super cheap on a TV.
Who cares?
And then
actually, who cares? Have you seen what Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 look like? People still love those movies, and The Mandalorian looks better than those.
And then
who cares?
There's a Lando Solo movie in the works.
That's never coming out.
Which Donald and Stephen Glover are currently writing.
No, they're not.
They're working on it.
No, they're not.
I think that's going to happen.
That will never happen.
I think it will.
No, because it would be good if it did. So it's not going to happen.
And then I just wrote all the stuff that hasn't technically been canceled, but I put it in it. So I have these in 3 sections. I have the years for stuff that's definitely coming out, the unknown dates, and then I just put a section that's never happening. Rogue Squadron,
not happening,
which is never going to happen. Rangers of the Republic, which is
not going to happen.
A Droid Story, which was an animated movie,
ever going to happen.
Direct to Disney Plus that they announced at Disney Investor Day 2020 that they literally have not mentioned a single time.
No,
since
you know what?
Years.
That one will happen.
Watch that come out like next month.
That one will drop randomly on like
a month before. They'll just drop a trailer for it on YouTube.
They'll drop that for like May the 4th one day. Mm-hmm. They'll just like, here you go.
Yeah, we made this.
There's this.
Yeah, bye. And then I put Matt Owen was supposed to script a Star Wars movie. That's never going to happen. Sean Levy from Free Guy and Adam Project and Stranger Things and Night at the Museum was supposed to direct a Star Wars movie that they announced really recently. But that's also never going to happen. And then Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy has still not been canceled. Sam. It's still they say it's still going to happen at some point.
Oh yeah, I bet it is. Why did they do that?
Why did they do that?
Why did they think that was ever going to be real?
Is Star Wars trilogy?
Yeah. Why did they think that was
a good
idea?
Gonna be. It's going to happen. Sam.
No, but it isn't.
It's going to happen.
No, but it won't though.
But it will though.
I don't think it will.
If
it does, we will be dead before it comes out.
The excuse for Rian Johnson and Sean Levy was both they're too busy right now.
No, he's not.
Because Rian Johnson's doing Knives Out 3, which he's writing.
But Knives Out hadn't even been made when this deal was made.
That is true. But luckily he got that Netflix contract, so now they had an actual excuse.
But they don't, because that was after this deal was made.
He's too busy making Netflix movies for Knives Out.
That's a lie.
He just doesn't have time.
That is just a big fat
Maybe when he's
lie.
done doing those, we'll talk about it again. And then the Sean Levy one, they were like, well, He'll probably direct it at some point after he does Deadpool 3 and Stranger Things season 5. And
Oh, did you see the Game of Thrones guys like revealed what their pitch was?
I was gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, and then how it's exactly the same as the one that they're doing, and they just stole that, I guess.
So, in terms of the undated stuff, this is when I think it's coming out. Ahsoka season 2, because it just started development.
It'll come out early next year.
I think that's 2026. I think that's 2 years away.
What?
With how long they take to make these freaking shows, I think that's not.
It's a season 2 of a show. They have to have most of it idealized already.
Andor season 2 is gonna take 3 years. Mando season 3.
Okay,
took 3 years.
Hang on. Andor season 2 taking a long time makes sense to me because I don't think they knew if they wanted to do a season 2.
They had
when
5
season
seasons
1 came
mapped out.
Then whatever. But they knew that Ahsoka was going to be big. They should have, because she's probably the most popular Star Wars character from the recent era of Star Wars in terms of like her fan reception. Like they had to have known that show was going to be a big deal.
Well, it wasn't a very big deal. It was like, okay.
Yes, but they didn't. They should have thought it was going to be big. Do you see what I'm saying? Like they should have already been working on season 2 when season 1 finished.
He was working on it. He was not able to write anything down for the show from May until November. So
yes, but he should have had stuff written.
He was not allowed. He probably has notes and an idea of where he wants it to go, but they don't have scripts or casting or sets or any of that.
I'm saying they should have had stuff written before the writer's strike even started. Like this should have been stuff that they were working on.
But again, they wrote season 1 probably 4 years ago or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he was working on the actual episodes when the strike hit, and he wasn't allowed to do development. Because he was directing and producing that show. So it's not like he was doing that for 10 hours a day and then went home and wrote more notes for season 2. He was probably just working on the stuff they already had and then wasn't able to even pick up a pen and do anything else until later that year. Until very recently. Also, it didn't even get a green light until when they announced this movie.
Yeah, but okay. Number one, he's the creative director of Star Wars. This was never not going to get greenlit, even if it got no views.
Okay, but again, Sam, me and you both know and complain all the time that they take forever to make these Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, so stop taking forever.
So again, I think honestly, I think it's more likely Ahsoka season 2 comes out even later than 2026.
Why though?
Because they take forever to do this stuff.
But there was only a 2-year gap for Mandalorian, and then it was year after year after that.
No, well, there was Mando season 1 in 2019, 20,
and then Boba Fett,
and then
which was basically
Boba Fett,
Mandalorian.
which I guess if you want to count that, was the year after, and then Mando season 3.
Yeah, Mando was like beat on beat every year.
But they also pretty much never stopped working on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why didn't they do that with Ahsoka? I know there was the writer's strike. Aside from that, they should have been like, okay, this is our biggest character. We're going to give this the Mandalorian treatment. We're going to go beat after beat. We're going to keep this ball rolling. Why didn't they do that?
All the reports are saying like there is not like a lot for
I know, but that's like wild to me. Like, how did they let that happen?
I don't know. I think they were like, we're going to do
like that's Dave's baby.
I think they were going to say we're going to do these 8 episodes, and then after that, after like those have been out for a while, we'll reevaluate.
That's stupid. That's dumb, and there's no way that's true.
I'm not saying that's smart. I'm saying that is what they did.
I know that it's what they did. I don't understand how that is what they ended up doing. Because again, Dave is the Star Wars guy.
But you got to think about
this is his show. This is his baby.
But you got to think about the sheer amount of stuff he is involved in. Like, he is overseeing Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, Skeleton Crew. He's still working on Mandalorian technically, and then he was doing the actual physical production of Ahsoka. Do you actually think he had that much time to like map out his Ahsoka season 2?
No, Kevin Feige has it figured out.
But Kevin Feige doesn't write anything. Kevin Feige's job is to sit in a boardroom and then have assistants tell him what's going on in all of their sets.
Maybe Dave Filoni needs to not write. Maybe that's the problem then.
I think Ahsoka season 2 is a long ways away. I think it's going to be a very long time.
Stupid Ahsoka. Okay. You can't give me half of a season of a show and then expect me to care for 4 years.
That's what they're going to do. I mean, that's what all these streaming shows are doing.
No, but you're not allowed.
Every show has a multi-year gap between seasons now, which is crazy, but it's just where we're at.
I hate that so much. That's so dumb.
Invincible had a 3-year gap pretty much.
Okay.
The Boys is going to had a 2-year, and then it's going to have a 2-year
Attack on Titan had a 4-year gap between season 1 and 2. It was such an outrage and such a meme that it became one of its defining traits up until the show's finale, when it got so good that people kind of stopped caring. Every single show is that now. Why? How did we let this happen? How did this happen?
I don't understand how the budgets got bigger, the episode counts got shorter, and then production took longer.
Like, what happened?
And I know a lot.
What's going on?
I know these shows are more complex than a network show where they build 4 sets and every episode takes place in the 4 sets and they just churn them out forever.
Maybe we should do those more.
But like Breaking Bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put out 5 seasons in 5 years, pretty much.
And it was a very high production
and
value
they were
show.
doing 13 1-hour episodes with high production value and like new sets and characters weaving in and out.
All right, you know what? I hate to say it, but oh my God, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Also, came out more consistently.
Almost a decade of consistency.
Yeah.
Wildly varying sets, wildly varying locations, a massive,
giant VFX,
massive
shots.
Sprawling world, huge VFX. And they had that on lock year after year. Kept going. Why is there... How many years has it been since House of the Dragon? Like 2 now?
It's going to be 2 years between seasons 1 and 2.
Why?
I can't figure it out.
Did everyone just forget how to make a TV shows in the last 10 years? Why?
And House of the Dragon, they don't even have the strike excuse. They were working outside.
Yeah, they kept going. So that's actually makes no sense.
Yeah. So season 1 of Game of Thrones came out in April of 2011, and they had season 2 airing in April of 2012.
Yeah, it was beat on beat. They were going.
They literally got it out. The only one that had a gap was between season 7 and 8. There was a 2-year gap,
and that's reasonable.
So they did 9 years. They did 8 seasons in 9 years.
Yeah, that's a perfectly reasonable schedule in my mind.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. You should not have that. You should not have a 2, 3, 4-year gap between every season. I don't care after that. I will stop caring. I already barely care about House of the Dragon. If they take any longer, I'm just not going to watch it when it comes out because I don't care that much. Ahsoka was good, but it wasn't that good.
No.
It wasn't 4 years of wait for the next... I mean, I'm still going to watch it probably, but if it's... I'm not going to care.
I think we're looking at 2026 for Ahsoka. Maybe they can get it out late 2025. But I think 2026.
I think it has to come out 2025 or it will flop miserably.
And then I think that May 2026 movie, I think that's going to be Mando and Grogu. That's the next date. If they're shooting late this year, they'll have that ready to go by May of the year after.
Well, unless they're replacing season 4 with Mando, and then they'll start shooting next month.
No, they said the movie's gonna shoot later this year. Because also they have to work with Pedro Pascal's schedule and he's insanely busy. But we'll talk about him in a second. And then there's another Star Wars movie for December of that year. That's gonna be that Rey movie, Episode 10, because that's the next closest to being made.
Yeah, you think they're gonna call it Episode 10?
No,
it'll just be Rey.
It'll be Star Wars: New Jedi Order.
Star Wars: The Rey of movie.
It'll be Star Wars: The New Jedi Order. Star Wars: The New Jedi Order. Or the New Order or something like that.
You know what? They should call it Episode 1. Yeah, and then they'll do a new saga.
Damn. That's a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Call it Episode 1? Then there's 2
Yeah.
Episode 1s.
There's an episode
And
one.
also,
Hang
no.
on. There's an episode 1, The Phantom Menace. This will be episode 1. The Rey is now a Yoda.
Okay. But the thing about that, though, is if you make a movie called Episode 1, you are implying there will be more episodes.
Are you seriously saying right now that you don't think there will be more episodes?
I'm saying if the
Are
Rey...
you delusional?
I'm saying if the Rey... So if the new Jedi Order movie, right, doesn't do $1 billion, I'm saying it's very unlikely they would greenlight a direct sequel.
Would
The sheer quantity they have coming out.
I don't think there's a universe where Star Wars doesn't make $1 billion.
I think we're living in that universe right now.
We're not.
Solo.
Every Star Wars movie, every episode Star Wars movie has made over $1 billion.
But they also saw sharp declines as they went on.
Yeah, because they got worse. But if
and
they
don't have any nostalgia factor to carry the next one.
Yeah, they do because it's Star Wars on it, and it's got lightsabers, and they fight wizards.
But it doesn't have Skywalker.
You don't think that C-3PO and R2-D2 and Force Ghost Luke Skywalker aren't going to show up in this movie all the time? Of course they will. Because it's Star Wars. And Darth Vader always shows up in Star Wars.
That is probably right. But I don't know. I'm not saying they won't do one. I'm just saying they won't call it episode 1 because then you're ensuring there will be like several more.
So call it episode 4.
I think it's more likely they just do.
Call it episode 4.
Why are you calling it episode 4? What are you doing?
Because the other ones.
Why do they have to be episodes?
Because it's Star Wars, number 1.
There's ones that aren't episodes.
Yes, but no one knows what those ones even are.
Same,
except for Rogue One.
All of these, but one of them are not episodes.
Yeah, and those ones are not going to get nearly as many views as the one that is probably going to have episode in the name. You know that that's true.
I think they're all just... I think the Mandalorian one has the best chance of doing well right now.
Yes, for spin-offs, I would say that one has the highest chance of doing well.
And the rest of them, including the episode 10 one, I think are all just as likely to do well. Or all as have all the same chances.
If they make a new Star Wars and they call it episode whatever, doesn't really matter. It will be massively profitable if not make $1 billion.
Okay. And then for 2027, I think that December movie is going to be Heir to the Empire. That's when that will finally
What year?
come out. That's 2027. Which would be a year after Ahsoka Season 2. 2 years after... No.
You know, I don't want to be...
1 year after the Mando movie and Ahsoka Season 2. I think that's a perfectly reasonable window.
I don't want to be 30 when Dave Filoni finishes telling his whatever this is. I don't want to do that. That is not a goal of mine.
It's coming. It's coming. Coming up.
Can you just finish telling your story?
It's taking too long, though.
I'd stop it. Just tell the story.
You gotta build up to the part where Thrawn's gonna come in a big spaceship. And
they did that. He's doing that right now. Is it gonna take him a whole 4 years to get there?
Yeah.
It only took him like a day to get there initially.
4 years. It took 4 years.
Stupid.
Gotta get Ezra on the movie.
Real dumb. Took Ahsoka one day.
Honestly, the Heir to the Empire one, I don't think is cool. Because I think a lot of people will be confused on what it is. And it's going to be about a bunch of characters from cartoon shows.
And books people have never
At that
read.
point, that will be like 15 years old that no one will have watched.
I mean, how old is Thrawn at this point as a character? Like, he was created...
by the time this comes out...
He was created shortly after Episode 6 came out.
He'll be like 35 years old, man.
I mean, how old is he now? He was made... Those books were written shortly after Episode 6, as far as I'm aware. Maybe after Episode... Maybe it was in the early 2000s. Look up when Thrawn was made.
1991.
Okay, so after Episode 1 came out.
Episode 1 came out.
While Episode 1 was being made.
Episode 1 came out in 1990.
Doesn't matter. It was in the 90s.
So 1, 2, 3. It's already been 30 years. So
yeah,
this will be
he's already 33.
It'll be over 35 years old. And then Rebels.
Dude, how old is Dave Filoni? I'll look it up. How old? Google, show me this guy, please. How old? Nope, is not Bill Belichick. Dave.
How old is Bill Belichick?
I don't know. I don't care.
So Star Wars Rebels is already 10 years old.
Oh, he's almost 50. He's 49 years old.
Well, I mean, it's only 4 years from now.
Yeah, he's still pretty old. I thought he was younger than that.
No. Rebels is already 10 years old. I mean, Dave, I hate to break it to you, not a lot of people have seen your cartoon shows.
Okay, you know what? When did Clone Wars Season 1 come out? 2007? 2000, it was 2009?
2009.
I think it was 2008.
I think the movie came out in 8, and then the show...
Because it was shortly after we moved into the Prosper House. We moved in there in 2007.
The movie came out in 08. The cartoon, because remember the first movie?
Yeah, the first 3 episodes were made into a movie, and then it came out in... Yeah, so 2008.
So that one's 15.
These characters are 14 years old.
Yeah.
That's old now.
They're getting up there.
That's like
I know a lot of people are like 14 years isn't a lot, but for like current day, what it takes to be relevant, especially with like youngish people, which is who you got to get into the theater to see a Star Wars movie. The kids who grew up
watching Clone Wars, us, are getting to the point where like we are now old enough that we have stuff to do. We can't be sitting back every Saturday morning watching cartoons no more. We got stuff going on, Dave. We got stuff going on, Dave. I don't got time to wait 4 years for your show, Dave.
Move on. Been too long on this.
All right, what else is good?
The Golden Globes happened.
That sure is a story that we were covering.
It's like the Oscars, but on light
people
mode.
Care less.
Sam, I didn't watch the whole ceremony because there was a football game on at the same time.
I didn't either.
And I didn't care enough about the Golden Globes to watch just that, but I flipped back and forth occasionally, and I watched clips of it. And from what I could tell, me and you both watched the opening monologue.
Oh boy, did we watch the opening monologue! Oh boy, that's got to be the best opening monologue I've ever heard. No, he did a great job. That's got to be. I think that's probably the best opening monologue we've ever had for an award show. Let's give our boy some credit where credit's due.
Way to go, Joe
I'm being
Coy.
sarcastic.
No,
that was horrible.
It was so bad.
That was like something that would have that would have slapped in 2002.
It's one thing to have like a negative reception with like viewers on TV. It's another thing for just to get
the audience
complete and utter disdain from the audience in the room. And what was incredible was he managed to do it immediately.
Yeah,
he walked
right
off
the bat,
and like 2 jokes in.
Bombing.
Everyone was just like, no one wanted this guy.
And he kept going.
He went on for like another 8 minutes.
Dude, you could have destroyed Poland with how many bombs he dropped in that audience.
It's such an award show like staple that I don't understand, where every one of these shows, they're all 3 hours long, usually more than that. And half of the show, well, you have 10 minutes for a monologue at the start for no reason. And then half of the show is they walk the presenters out, and then the presenters do these awkward, prompted comedy bits that never land. Every single time they never land.
Not when John Mulaney did it. It was good.
Because John Mulaney's an actual comedian.
Well, supposedly so is this guy.
They Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig presented an award, and they did a bit, and it was cute. It was kind of funny. Because they're actual like comic actors.
Yeah, they're actually funny.
What I don't understand is why we're walking Kevin Costner, who cares about nothing, out on the stage and make him do this like awkward 5-minute bit for the telecast. I didn't watch
the Kevin Costner. I don't know what that is.
What it should be is they get the presenters, they walk out, right? And they give a little spiel about how directors matter or whatever. And then they read the award and that's it. And then they let the guy who won the award talk. All of the acceptance speeches for these awards were like 1 minute and 15 seconds.
That's fine. That's a good length.
Let them talk though, because they were playing them off after like 15.
That's okay. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't mind that.
So they do that, and then if you have like comedians there, they can do a bit, but the rest you shouldn't Daniel Kaluuya and Shamik Moore and Haley Steinfeld should not be doing a bit. They're actors.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be doing like a thing that like some intern wrote like a month ago. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why these award shows all force that to be a thing.
Not necessary. They could have just started the award show when it started. and not had a guy bomb for 15
Yeah.
minutes at the opening. I loved how they kept panning to like people's reactions to the
And they were
joke,
all
and they were
negative.
always just like, "Ew,
Mm.
bro." I don't.
Sam, he made a joke about Taylor Swift, and we're very upset.
I didn't even honestly. I didn't even remember the Taylor Swift joke that he made. I heard people got upset about it after the fact, but like I doubt. Dude, that was such a
How-
small drop in the bucket of
how-
bad jokes he poured on the audience.
How dare anyone make fun of billionaire Taylor Swift?
Okay, and that joke wasn't even like out of all the jokes he
No,
told,
it
that one was like
so
okay.
tame. It was nothing.
It was
that
like
was the worst part, is that none of his jokes were anything.
yeah. Well, okay, some of them were dumb, like the Oppenheimer being long joke, dude.
I can't
shut up.
believe we're still doing that bit.
The like Barbie movie boobs.
That's like
what?
every time a movie is nominated for any award at any show and it's over like 2 hours and 45 minutes, every host is like, cool, I can do 3 minutes on how this movie is too long, and I didn't watch the whole
No,
thing.
don't. That joke is
No. And that wasn't even the longest movie nominated for Best Picture.
no. It's just the only one he saw.
It was just the most popular one.
Yeah.
But that was the big story of the night, was that Oppenheimer cleared all of the major film
Big
categories.
surprise. We knew that was going to
Succession
happen.
cleared all the major drama categories, and then The Bear cleared all the major comedy categories because they do film and TV. Because why not just do everything, I guess? But the reason anyone pays attention to the Golden Globes at all, by the way, viewership was up 50% from last year.
That's surprising.
They
Why?
did something right. I don't know. I don't know.
What happened?
Now, I think a part of it was that they moved to CBS, and CBS in general, like the most viewed of the networks. So I think that helped.
Oh, Grandma didn't change the channel.
Grandma didn't change the channel, and football was on earlier. So if people forgot,
So Grandpa was watching football and fell asleep and didn't change the TV
didn't
channel.
change the channel, and people watched the Golden Globes. on
Actually, no. This is what it actually was.
CBS. Oh, here we go.
Dave and Buster's had the football game on,
What?
and they didn't change the channel after the football game ended, and then it was just playing on a bunch
Oh,
of
so sports bars across
Yeah.
the country just were playing the Golden Globes on accident.
yeah.
Um,
That's probably actually a significant chunk of the viewership.
The reason anyone pays attention to the Golden Globes is that they're basically just like the preview of what the Oscars
They're the
will be
diet
like.
Oscars.
So, Christopher Nolan won Best Director. He's going to win it at the Oscars. He doesn't have any really close competition. Best Animated Picture was actually an upset. The Boy and the Heron won.
That surprised me.
Everyone, I think, was expecting Spider-Verse to win that one.
I mean, I'm not complaining. Boy and the Heron, I think, was good and was more of a complete story than Spider-Verse. But it did surprise me that it won.
I do still think that Spider-Verse, because it's got the like bigger name and all that, I think that probably has a better chance at the Oscars.
Yeah,
Still, even though
they've spent more money on
that's
campaigning.
the key to the award shows, by the way, is that
Who spends the most money
whoever
campaigning?
spends the most money wins.
Because it's actually perfectly fine to bribe the judges.
No,
for
you
this.
just send them crap to their house.
No, like it's not against the rules. Like you're just allowed
No,
to
that's
bribe.
part of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's expected that you bribe.
It's expected that you just send them stuff.
Lots of people don't know that.
Best
Just letting
motion
you
picture
know.
drama was Oppenheimer. Again, that's pretty much on its own. I don't see any of the other movies getting an upset. So the Golden Globes split movie categories into comedy and drama, and only for some categories, but not all. For Best Picture, musical or comedy, Poor Things won, which I think was kind of an upset. I think some people thought it was going to be Barbie. I don't see Barbie.
Did anyone even see Poor Things? Did you see Poor Things?
I didn't. I was going.
Okay,
to,
that means nobody has seen Poor Things. That's what that means.
Well, it's official, Sam. It's official, everybody. Sam has declared Poor Things not a real movie.
Yeah, no one saw it. If no one sees you, if a movie releases in the
saw
forest,
all the other ones.
hang
though.
on. If a movie releases in the forest and no one is around to see it, does it exist? I say maybe, maybe not.
But yeah, I don't see. I think Poor Things has Poor Thing. Oppenheimer's gonna win Best Picture, but I think yeah, whatever. Best Foreign Language was Anatomy of a Fall. That's gonna get nominated for Best Picture. It's also gonna win Best. Oh no, it's not. Right. Anatomy of a Fall is clearing all of like
The foreign.
it's
pe-
doing all our
film
foreign
stuff.
awards, but how the Oscars works is each country submits one movie to be eligible for Best International Feature, and I believe Anatomy of a Fall is French, and they that was not the movies they submitted. even though it's clearing all of these other minor award shows, it won't even be nominated at the Oscars because they didn't submit it for.
The award shows are so dumb.
Which means I think probably Fallen Leaves or Society of the Snow will probably win the Oscar. Even.
Sure. I don't know what either of those are. Yeah, give it to
Best
one of them.
original score was Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer.
Yeah, deserved. That score
Tracks.
slapped so hard.
Best original song was What Was I Made For Barbie. 3 songs from Barbie were nominated.
It was the only movie that had songs in it this
But that
year.
was the best song in the Barbie category,
That
and that's
movie-
also going to
that
win best.
song wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was in the very end, and then it was in the credits.
Oh, well, okay, Sam. One of these, credits in the movie, but at the end, in the movie, but at the middle, in the movie, but at the middle, and also at the beginning.
Okay, well, if it's like mostly in the credits, that's
But
like not even.
all
in the movie.
all it takes is that it's in the movie at some point. So
that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Why would that count? That doesn't make any sense.
Beef swept all of the limited series categories. Lily Gladstone won Best Actress. I think she's pretty much locked that in. I don't see any of the other people upsetting her. But that was for drama, and then for comedy or musical, because they split this one up for some reason. Emma Stone won. I think Emma Stone has a slight chance, but I do think Lily Gladstone's going to win the Oscar.
What was Lily Gladstone was
Killers of the
Flower Moon.
Yep. Divine Joy Randolph won Best Supporting Actress. She's going to win the Oscar. That's locked in. Bet money on that one.
Do they have that? Do they have betting pools for the Oscars?
Oh, yeah. You want to get it on it?
Yeah, why not? Make some free money.
Yeah. Best Actor was Cillian Murphy. This is probably the most competitive of any of these categories. Because what it's looking like right now is Oppenheimer's just going to sweep everything at the Oscars.
Probably.
It's going to win Adapted Screenplay. It's going to win Picture. It's going to win Director. It's going to win...
hang on, though. Killers of the Flower Moon is Apple.
Oppenheimer's going to sweep the Oscars. I'm telling you now.
Well, yes, but like a couple of them will go to Killers of the Flower Moon because Apple.
I think Killers is going to get...
They'll get like 1 or 2.
Some technical noms, maybe a technical win, and then it's going to get... Lily Gladstone's going to win Best Actress.
Yeah, they'll win a couple things.
Oppenheimer's going to sweep all the major ones. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once swept all of the major awards last year. I think Oppenheimer's going to do virtually this.
That was last year?
Yes, Sam.
I feel like that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Wake up. There's stuff
I'm
going
so
on.
tired.
Paul Giamatti won Best Actor.
Heck yeah. Let's
Love
go,
my boy.
Paul.
Did you see the pictures of him going to In-N-Out after?
Oh,
the
yeah, and he was like,
Golden Globe? Love that man.
I love that picture.
Oh, I love Paul Giamatti so much. He was doing an interview where he talked about how he wanted to play a Bond villain. Like,
all right,
yeah,
Paul.
You should play a Bond
Why not?
villain.
Yeah, go for it.
RDJ won Best Supporting Actor. I think that's probably a lock too.
Yeah, because he was
another really competitive category. Charles Melton has been kind of the up-and-comer, and then Ryan Gosling was like everyone was hyped about that back when Barbie came out. But I don't think he's actually going to win that.
Probably not.
And then there was a bunch of TV awards. I don't think that matters as much. Sam, something I do think you'll find funny is that we were talking about during Joe Coy's monologue about Ricky Gervais's monologue from a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him an award for best stand-up special during the Golden Globes.
Ooh, Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, but he didn't show. He wasn't there, but he won.
Dude, how do you give him an award for that? That's crazy. That's
also,
like someone
stand-up special. It's not great.
That's like someone spitting in
Fine.
your face repeatedly, and you go, "Thank you. Here's an award."
I think Ricky Gervais. They're very iffy on Ricky Gervais because he used to be like super popular with people in Hollywood. He created The Office. And a lot of his comedy was like very controversial for like 2009. And then now he's kind of pivoted to be like mostly just doing these people be too woke bit.
Whatever like popular early 2000s comic is doing now, which is these guys, these people are so weird.
Ricky Gervais's main things are making fun of woke people and making fun of religion.
Yeah.
And they love making fun of religion, but they don't like making fun of woke people. So like they're kind of iffy on Ricky Gervais.
They'll bring him back because he got them so many views.
I mean, he won a Golden Globe.
He
for
got
his Netflix
them
special.
so many freaking views.
I mean, his monologue, he was entertaining when he hosted. More entertaining than Joe Coy.
Joe Coy was
trash.
Dude, his teeth were so white.
Why are they so white?
Dude, they're like blinding. They're so creepishly white.
Anyway, I'm not going to go through all of these. Succession won all the drama. Beef won all the comedy. Oppenheimer won all.
All right. Anything else for Golden Globes to say?
Nope.
All right. Let's talk about Mean Girls.
Well, let's finish up the news portion.
Oh, is there more news?
Well, I want to talk about the Benioff and Weiss thing.
Oh, yeah.
So Benioff. So if you don't remember, David Benioff and I think his name is DB or David Weiss.
I think it is DB Weiss.
The guys who did Game of Thrones, right? The first show on HBO, who then wrapped that final season up prematurely because they had a deal to go make Star Wars. And then they screwed up the final season so bad
that they lost their Star Wars deal.
They lost Game of Thrones and their Star Wars deal. And now they're over at Netflix. And they've had a Netflix deal for like 4 years. And just now in May, they're going to have their first show actually come out that they've made with Netflix. And so they've been making the rounds, doing press.
What show did they make in Netflix?
It's an original thing. It's called like the Blue blah, 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 or something. I don't know.
It's the Blue blah, blah, blah.
It's a random thing. It's like a thriller show. But starring no one you've ever heard of. But they've been doing the rounds, and they were talking about their canceled Star Wars movie. And they said that it was going to be about the first Jedi. And they were like, oh, they were going to do like the first lightsaber and everything. And then the studio said they weren't interested in doing that.
And then the studio actually was, and they are doing
it. And what's funny about that is they just announced that exact movie.
Yeah, they're doing literally that exact idea.
Just with a different guy.
They just didn't like you, bud. Sorry, they weren't interested in you.
I just think that's funny.
It's not you, it is you, actually.
Those two's career fall off is spectacular and kind of incredible.
Tucker, have you seen Game of Thrones yet?
No.
You watch Game of Thrones, you'll understand. I recently watched it with a friend all the way through, from beginning to end. Because, okay, the first time I watched it all the way up until season 7, and then, like, I took a 2-year break. I just kind of fell off, and then I came back and I finished the show.
Yeah.
And I watched season 8, and I was like, this isn't too bad. This is all right. What are people so worked up about? And then, a couple years later, I watched through it again. This time, I don't take a break. I watch it all the way through. Oh my God, is that some of the dumbest television I've ever seen. Holy crap. They took every single character and just lobotomized them. And then they were just like the dumbest versions of themselves, and they make decisions that are completely contrary to their entire, like, character profile up until this point. And it just ruins the show. It breaks immersion. It is so dumb that it breaks immersion, which is hard to do. Especially for a show that was this good and that consistent for that long. It is a spectacular failure. Because even if the ending was just like mid, like it just wasn't as hype as people were expecting, it still would be regarded as a solid show. But because the ending was actually awful, it ruined the reputation of the show forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, my point is, yeah, you got what you got. Don't do that.
But they got that Netflix money now, so they're all good.
And they're making another show.
Yeah. All right. Will you cover it? So, remember what we're going to do is film.
Okay, we're back.
So, that's going to do it for this week's podcast.
We're changing it up a little bit.
That's right. So, instead of putting a Mean Girls review at the end of this and it being
we probably should have mentioned this at the beginning and not at the very end.
Yeah, you were just yapping and I didn't want to spend
You could have just gone like, actually, we're going to do this.
It's fine. I'll put a link to the Mean Girls review.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying we should have announced that at the beginning.
Instead of cramming the reviews at the end of the podcast from now on, we have a new review show.
We're just going to split it into
That's going to come out on the Half Empty channel from now on. So
what? Why?
I haven't talked you through this yet, but this is what we're going to do.
Just not going to... Okay.
That's what's going to happen. So I'll link that in the description if you want to hear our thoughts on Mean Girls. But that's going to do it for this week's podcast. Thank you very much for listening and watching on YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else.
We'll see you guys next week.
That's right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.